think one of the things that makes Dragon Age Origins really fun is really the dark heroic fantasy element. The game itself, it's not like your traditional run-of-the-mill fantasy game with the happily dancing elves sashaying across the countryside. Instead, Dragon Age Origins has very, very harsh realities. It's interesting because right from the origin stories, right from when you begin the game, you see it's not like other fantasy games you played. Every race is got a little bit of a twist on it. Magic isn't something that's celebrated. There's a lot of things in Dragon Age Origins that makes the game seem very different than any fantasy game you've ever played. And it really drives it home in the origin stories and all the way through the uniqueness in who you've chosen to be, the feeling you're going to have in the world.
Dark heroic fantasy is everything that you like about traditional fantasy, elves and dwarves, fantastical moments, and we've taken that idea and shifted it into something a bit grittier, apply a bit of logic behind it. So we still have magic, but it's treated a lot differently. So there isn't the same flamboyance that you might see in traditional high fantasy, and as well, in a lot of our costuming and architecture, we tend to go a little bit grittier. We try to get a lot of layers in our materials and the progression of the world and where it came from.
There's a lot of difficult choices that are made in the game, and we try to reflect some of that grit and choice in the actual characters themselves, so they have more dirt and grime, and in their armors themselves, the creatures are very twisted, very nightmarish, and it's not your typical elves and goblins.
We're basically, instead of introducing the player character in the world once, we're having to do it several times over to really give you that unique experience that you deserve with an origin story. So as each of the origin stories plays out, we have a variety of cutscenes. From a technical standpoint, we've actually customized the player character's animations in many of these cutscenes to match. If you are a dwarf, you'll have a completely different walk cycle, and you'll carry yourself differently than an elf or a human. Playing it the second time through, you may see 5 or 10 cutscenes that you didn't see the first time before, just based off of purely your choices, and on top of that, your race and your class.
We don't have a lot of the traditional chainmail bikinis, etc. It's what's functional, what would make sense in the world. If you're actually going out into battle, you need to be heavily armored. So we take that and then start applying some of that dark fantasy twist.
Within the story of Dragon Age itself, it's very dark. There's a lot of chaos happening. A lot of the decisions that you make are very not a lot of them have a very positive effect. It's more negative. There's always seems to be some type of consequence involved in there. So having to actually reflect that in the art itself is very important. So it's kind of hard to have a character who's running around with shiny armor and shiny bits and a nice brand new shield, and have him feel that he's actually trying to be part of a struggle and that he's trying to change what's going on. I think there's just so much content, there's so much going on in Dragon Age, there's so many pieces to the puzzle. I mean, having them all fit was quite the challenge.